Welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good week in the market this week. We had a really good week in the portfolio, cash account. Market closed today. All three indices closed at record highs, so very good day for the markets today. We had a pretty good streak going 4 days, just like last week. We had 4 days green Monday through Thursday, and then Friday we had a little red both weeks, this week and last week. So, but we ended the week up really good, so we're happy with that. Made a few trades since I talked to you last Monday, and we'll talk about those as we look into the portfolios this week and see how they performed. And other than that, everything's going good. So let's go ahead and just cut over that portfolio, and we'll talk about kind of where we're at so far year to date and things like that at the end of the video. All right, so let's go ahead and cut over to portfolio. All right, so here's our portfolio. You can see we still got the Bitcoin on the very first slot here. Bitcoin's just something we're watching because we have a couple that are tied to Bitcoin, Hut Mining Company and MicroStrategies here. So I like to compare the two. One of the things kind of to look at, is kind of compare when Bitcoin does something, do the other two do the same type thing? And you can see today we had Bitcoin showing down a little bit, yet here's Hut Mining up 8%, and MSTR is down a little bit. I'll talk about that as we dig down a little deeper, but Hut Mining may be up because a lot of China mines have shut down, if you're keeping up with any of that. And so that might be why they're starting to pick up. They've had a pretty good week. So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin, just a quick look at the week for Bitcoin. And I do own some Bitcoin, but this is not a Bitcoin channel, but we do want to keep kind of track of what's going on with that. You can see today it was down almost 1%. And for the 5-day, we're pretty flat for the whole week. It's kind of volatile, but pretty flat for the whole week. You can see here. So down less than 1% for the whole week, okay? So let's keep that in mind as we look at these other ones. So Hut Mining, again, let's take a look at that. You see it's up 8% today. Actually, one of the two green ones that we had. And you can see that 8%. But let's take a look at that 5-day chart on Hut Mining. And you can see it's done well for 5 days there, all the way from 379 to 516. Let's take a look at that real quick. I'm going to tell you what the actual percentage is for that 5-day chart. When you pull it up on your phone in this Yahoo app, it does a little different, and so it kind of gives you, if you put the 5-day, click the 5-day chart like I just did, it actually gives you the 5-day percentage as well. So like today, if on the 5-day, this thing is up 39% for 5 days. So it's a pretty good week for that one. And 8% of that was today, but 39%, almost 40% for the week. So that's a very good little jump there for that one. Again, I think some of this has to do with the fact that these mining things are shutting down from China, but there's probably some other news. But you can see here they purchased 12 of the new microbit miners, and so again, this is a good one to be in. I believe it may take a little time. We may add to this one maybe next week or something if it takes a little dip. But it definitely is heading the right direction in 5 days. Let's go ahead and take a little quick look at the month. Okay, so the month, it's not quite as good. It's not quite as good as the 39%, but it's still. But the last week has done really well. All right, so we're still holding that one. Didn't sell any of that. Hadn't bought any. MSTR, I did add to that one in the cash account this week. Actually, sold a little NVAX. We'll talk that in a minute. And then I've also bought a little MSTR in a cash account. And let's see what we've got for it today. You see it did pull back today, 2.34%. And let's take a look at that 5-day chart. So we had a pretty good week for that. Let me go ahead and tell you what the 5-day is on the phone here. 15.5%. So that's been a good one this week. That's probably why we had such a good week too. So 15% in the 5 days. And if you'll remember, the Bitcoin was pretty flat. Okay, so Bitcoin was pretty flat for the week, and this one's up actually about 15% for the week. So that's not really in correlation with the Bitcoin price for this week, but we'll take it. And you can see this one was down 2.34% today, whereas Bitcoin was only down 0.65. So they're not going to go right in sync. But if Bitcoin's red, a lot of times this one's going to be red. But I saw earlier today while Bitcoin was green, this one was still red. So, but not quite as bad. But but it was ahead of Bitcoin because if you look at the 5-day again, you got a 15% gain for 5 days versus Bitcoin. It was pretty flat. Okay, but we did buy some of that in the cash account this week. Let me go ahead and pull that back up. We bought some. I believe it was. I bought some today or yesterday. Let's see. Yeah, some today at 651. Well, 72. Yeah, 651.71. Yeah, bought it a little bit this morning, and then some 654.74. So it did drop since we bought it. Yeah, it dropped off since we bought it, but that's okay. We did that today. You can see here we bought up here somewhere. And yes, right in here on the little dip there. And see, Bitcoin was actually green, so I thought, well, this thing's in the red, so I went ahead and started adding to the small position that I had already. And I thought maybe we'd get a good bump since Bitcoin was green at this time. But evidently, as Bitcoin went into the red, this one into the red even a little bit more. Okay, that happens sometimes. This thing goes crazy. I mean, it does. It makes anywhere from $15-$20 moves all the way up to $50 to $70 moves in a day. So we're just going to hang on to it. We got it in the cash account. We were green on what we were holding until today, and it went back into the red after these pulled back today, but that's okay. NVAX has been a good one. It's really been making a good little run here. It actually went all the way up to 222.40. If I'd been home today, I may have unloaded some more of that, but I did sell some of that this week. And let's go ahead and pull the 5-day chart up. You see the 5-day chart, really nice trend up here. Decent volume. Today's volume a little bit, just barely above normal. But this one is really heading in the right direction. Take a look at 1 month chart here. You can see from here on up, we've done very well. But for the week, let me go ahead and get that 5-day percentage for this one real quick for you and let you know here. Let's see here. So NVAX 5-day percentage is 14.45. So about as good as the MSTR for the week. So 14% on 14.5% this week. So we did sell some. Sold some in the cash account, sold some shares and made 12.90%. 12.90% in 3 months we had those shares. So, but here's what I did. I had a good number of NVAX shares. Pretty much the cash count was pretty much NVAX, and my IRAs really have had enough NVAX in them, and I didn't really want to buy any more in there. But what I decided to do is keep my share count the same. I sold some shares in the cash account and just rebought those in the IRAs as it dipped. So what we did is we sold for $215 on the first, and then as it dipped on the first, we also turned around and bought back in the IRAs the same number of shares for $210. So what we did is make a $5 gain on the shares as far as what we sold versus what we bought back in at. So it was a good move, and it hasn't gone back to the 210 level yet. So we're up $7 from there on those. They're in the IRA. I've got more than I really wanted in the IRA, but the way I look at it, total number of shares across all three accounts is the same. So we're going to do that. We may continue to do that with the cash account. As we sell in the cash account, we may actually move and buy into the IRAs, given an opportunity. Now, what we had there, had not planned on doing that, but when it dipped $5 from where I had just sold not too long before that, I decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy back in at a $5 cheaper price. So that's what we did, and so far a good move. But we do have a lot of shares in the IRAs, but I feel pretty comfortable about this one. I don't think it's going to anything terrible is going to happen in the next day or so. Still waiting on approvals here for this one. When they come through, that's going to be good news for us. But 5-day chart, about 14.5%. And today, you can see what I've been noticing a lot too is NVAX may take a little hit in the mornings a lot of times, but it's really fights its way back before the day's over with, and usually ends up in the green. So I've seen that happen a couple, maybe 2 or 3 times this week, and that just tells me there's some desire to own these shares, and so as soon as somebody knocks them down, they definitely are somebody out there buying them. You can see the volume gets heavy in this area too. 5-day chart, you can see the volume spikes here. So that's all looking good to me. I like what I'm seeing, how it's trending up, and again today, 222.40. That's a nice little high for the day. That really is a pretty good deal there. If I'd been sitting at home and could have focused on it today, I might have actually unloaded some at this 222. I think I've got some sitting in the cash account. My next lot is around that same price, so I could have sold and broke even on those, and the rest of them are a lot cheaper than this 222. So I'd be sitting really pretty in the cash account. I'm not doing bad. I think what I'm holding right now is about 11% up. So, but anyway, that's all good. Tilray, I think they've had a down week. Not much to talk about there. Definitely had a down day today. And you can see here it's pretty much the same for the week. So didn't do anything this week. May cost average a little bit on that. In the other IRA, we're way high in the one IRA, but I bought some shares to kind of cost average in the other IRA. But that one's even down now, so from where we bought. So Tilray is going the wrong way. But one of these days, I think it'll turn. Nikola, but it may be a couple of years. We had to hold it 2 years last time. Nikola, again, I think it's about like Tilray this week, a down week. Yep, it's a down week. But it's having some decent days, and then it just gives it back the next day or so. You had a decent day on Monday. Tuesday, sold it off. Had a decent day Wednesday, sold it off. Thursday, and then had a down day today, but not terrible, just 3%. But I think if we go with a month chart, you can see here we're still down a little bit for the month. So, but that one's also going the wrong way as well. So that's kind of where we're at on that. What I'd say for the next week, again, I may be doing some of that with the NVAX as far as selling the cash account versus the IRAs, or I may just start peeling some of that IRA back if it gets over 222, because I think that's where I started buying. So those lots, the first lots will be, at that 222 price, and when you sell, it usually goes by first in, first out. That's the way mine do anyway. And so even though I might be ahead overall, and I am on cash account and IRAs, we're in the green. It's I like to get the highest price shares in the green before I start selling, especially if they're the next lot to go. All right, so I don't know. I'm just kind of funny that way. Or either sometimes, if it takes a run, I may sell some that are actually in the red. But if you sell the whole lot, you're you're still making a bunch of money. So that's kind of where we at. We sold those. And then we added the MSTR at those prices this week. And mainly because I think Bitcoin's really found a good channel here. And MSTR will react if it starts moving back up. But it's kind of ahead of Bitcoin as far as how fast it's moved up versus where Bitcoin's at. So that may kind of hold it back too. I don't know. But it does have some wild swings some days. Like I said, $50 or $70 a share sometimes. And so that's what I'm waiting on. I'll unload that real quick in the cash account. Now we got some in the IRA too, and I'll be hanging on to that one just like I would if, until it gets, at least 6% gain. And that's a ways away still. All right. As far as the market goes and how we're doing compared to the market, the market's hitting record highs this week, and we're hitting record highs as well. The Dow is year to date at 13.66%, and the S&P year to date is at 15.87%, and the NASDAQ is at 13.59%. Those are all pretty good returns for half a year. I mean, who could complain with that? If you had your money in an index and and you didn't do what I do. I mean, some folks can just stick their money in an index, and that's great. And you'll do well. You'll do well if you buy things like the Triple Q, VTI, DIA, and SPY. Any of those you could just stick your money in and kind of cost average in, and you would do well with this market because the market's just going up. So it's hard to beat those numbers, but we're beating those numbers year to date right now, and so I'm real happy about that. I think the Dow is the one that's had us for the last few weeks, but I think the last couple of weeks we passed it. So anytime you can beat those indices, you're doing a real good job. So we're beating them, and that's my goal all the time is to beat those markets and beat those CDs, which that's not hard to do, especially nowadays. You should be. If you're not beating the CD, then you probably definitely need to be sticking it in the index. And most folks, if you're not trading, hopefully you are trading a little bit as you're watching the channel. But if you're not trading, you could easily put this money in the indexes and go about your business, and you probably sleep well at night. But I like to be flexible. I don't like to have all my money in anything and everything. In case the market pulls back, that's the opportunity to buy. Okay, but your cost averaging is always a good strategy as well. So can't go wrong there either way. But right now, we're speaking of cost averaging and doing things like that. You got to have cash on hand to do that. And our cash on hand right now is at 23%. We did lower it a little bit after we bought those shares of NVAX. Hopefully, pretty soon, we'll be able to start unloading some of that in the IRAs, and any of this approval comes out, or the application for approval in these countries, then you're going to really see a pop there. Any news on production levels would be a good one too, that you'll see a good pop out of. But a slow trend up, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's what we're doing right now. So I really like that, and so we're loaded up on NVAX, and so we're waiting for those kind of news, and then we're gonna do like we always do, being retired, is we're gonna cash out. Now, I don't know what percentage we are on the IRAs today, but I know I think in the cash account I'm around 11% or something like that on what I'm holding up on 11%, and so I could sell tomorrow on that, but no need to right now. Nothing else to put my money in on the cash account. Just kind of nibbling it. I got a little bit on the sideline there, so I can start nibbling at this MSTR as well. But everything's going good. So next week we're gonna just kind of really would like to build the cash up again. We did pocket some money this week, so that's good. And we had a couple of weeks there where we had not done that, so now we did this week, and so that was a good move for the month. I let's see, we sold on the 2nd, so we actually did that for July. I'm not sure if we did anything June at all, but July is going to make up for it, and so is the previous month. So we're in good shape as far as what we've pocketed as well. Okay, so everything's going great. We're halfway through the year, and I can't ask for anything better than what we're doing, and especially following up such a good year last year. And we just hope we can finish the year at least where we're at, and it'll be great if we can just finish where we're at. But sometimes, these things take a downward turn before you know it. But I'm not expecting a whole lot, but the next couple of months is what we got to watch there. I thought it'd already start slowing down, but, usually it's go away in May, but we didn't see anything about going away as far as the markets go. So it is what it is. I think it's the opening. The opening is the Fed that's just keeping this thing churning. The markets are doing the same thing as our portfolio, which is just kind of just churning its way up. And so as long as we're staying with them or staying ahead of them, that's what we want to be. Okay. Hey, thanks for the new subscription. I saw that this week as well. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to click this button right here and do that. I appreciate that. And have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July. The market will be closed Monday. So we'll be with you Tuesday, probably after the market closes, and then maybe Friday that other week. Okay. Have a great weekend. Be careful. Be safe, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.